Hello and a very warm welcome. The 2022 Season Awards, the annual video we do after every F1 season comes to an end. Just a bit of fun. We go down some of the best races, the worst race, the worst driver, the best driver. Yeah, let's get into it. The best race of the year. People are going to think I'm biased, but I've got to say Silverstone. It was action-packed. It was a great race, actually. A lot of action, a lot of overtaking. Big crash at the start. Yeah, it's a great circuit for racing. We're seeing some quite dire races and some decent races. So yeah, action-packed. Silverstone was the best race of the year. Brazil was quite good as well, but yeah, I'd have to go Silverstone. Worst race. Now, usually Monaco wins this, but I'm going Mexico. Mexico was an abysmal race. One of the worst I've watched. Oh yeah, it was terrible. Really poor. There was hardly any overtaking. Follow DRS trains all over the shop. So yeah, worst race, Mexico. Best overtake of the season. Now, I've got two written down. Charles on Lewis at Copse and Seb on Magnussen at Austin. That was a great move by Seb around the outside. But I think best overtake has to go to Charles Leclerc to overtake at Copse, especially after what happened the year before. Oh, what an overtake that was. That's got to be overtake at season. To go two cars, too wide, through Copse. Huge nuts by the Monegasque. He wins my overtake of the season. Maldonado Award. Now this is the Crash Award, and you guessed it. It's got to go to Latifi. Mick Schumacher could have been a shout for it, but yeah, Latifi. Not good enough. It costs more damages than he scores points. Thankfully, he's out at sport. My angry moment of the year. Now this is pretty straightforward. My most angry moment this season has got to be when Sebastian Vettel came back to the pits on a scooter without a helmet. Yeah, I pretty much went in on him. That would have been my most angry moment of the year. I was quite angry after Baku. But yeah, Vettel not wearing a helmet. No gloves, no protective equipment. And he basically got a meaningless fine. Best driver of the year. Now, obviously these are going to divide opinion, but I've got to say best driver of the year was Max at Spa, because he was in a Liga 1. He started like 15th. It's honestly like he was playing the PlayStation. It was that easy. Driver of the year. Now, of course, you got to give it Max. World champion, 15 wins. But if you're going for an outsider, I would have to give it George. His first season at Mercedes, beating Lewis Hamilton. Very consistent all year. He had an amazing first year at Mercedes. Worst driver. Now, I am not giving it Nicholas Latifi. We all know he's dog shit anyway, but I'm giving it Daniel Ricciardo. Shocking. He got sacked by McLaren. That tells you everything you need to know. He cost McLaren fourth in the Constructors. Daniel Ricciardo is my worst driver of the year, and he deserves to be off the grid next season. Miles off Lando. Lando carried the team. Yeah, Ricciardo's my worst driver of the season. Best team, Red Bull. Has to be Red Bull. They won the Constructors. Yeah, dominated. Won the majority of the races. Max won 15. Perez had a win. Yeah, it's got to be Red Bull. Worst team. I would have to give this one AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri finished 9th in the Constructors. And they've not got a great lineup for next year, experience-wise. Yuki gets another chance, which I'm quite surprised about, and De Vries. Gasly will go to Alpine. So worst team, I go AlphaTauri. But you could put Ferrari in there, bottle in the championship. You could put McLaren in there. You could put Williams in there. Most embarrassing moment of the season. When I think back to this, what were they doing? It has to be Mercedes at Baku. Basically blaming injuries. Obviously they had a lot of bouncing. Lewis got out the car like an old man. And he was kind of conning the fans, deflecting away from George's podium as the focus was on Lewis. And yeah, everyone ignored that a couple of weeks after it was forgotten about. Best save of the season. I would have to give this to Guan Yu Zhou at Monaco. I believe he came out the tunnel and he was basically facing towards the wall. I've got it written down, so it must have been pretty impressive. I've also got Sainz at Monaco, but we'll give this one Guan Yu Zhou. Cringe of the year. Now this has to be Alpine F1 team announcing Piastri as their driver, even though Piastri basically knew he was a McLaren driver, and it absolutely exploded on social media. Yeah, like imagine an F1 team announcing you when you've not signed the contract. It was cringe, and they actually thought that he was fully an Alpine driver. It was embarrassing for Alpine. Yeah, Piastri then put that Twitter message out. I hereby, without my acknowledgement, I can't sign a contract. Shock of the year. Now that has to go to Kevin Magnussen, as he got a pole position in a Haas. That's crazy, that. That's like Hulkenberg getting a pole in a Williams. It's not meant to happen. That's got to be the biggest shock of the year. And Wanker of the Year award. Yeah, Wanker award. That has to go to Max for disobeying team orders and not allowing Sergio Perez through. In hindsight, it didn't really make a difference as Perez bottled second in the championship anyway, but yeah, ignoring team orders when he's helped you all season. It was shithousery by the Dutchman, and it's been quickly forgotten as usual. So there we have it. Season awards, just a bit of fun. We do this every time the season finishes. We've got season ratings to come. But yeah, best race, Silverstone. Worst race, Mexico. Best overtake, Charles on Lewis. Maldonado Award, Latifi. Angry moment, Sebastian Vettel. Best drive, Max at Spa. Driver of the year, Max, George. Worst driver, Ricciardo. Best team, Red Bull. Worst team, AlphaTauri. Most embarrassing, Mercedes and their Baku bullshit. Best save, Guan Yu Zhou. Cringe of the year, Alpine announcing Piastri. Shock of the year, Magnussen pole. And Wanker award, Max, for ignoring team orders. So there we have it. Comment down below your thoughts. Just a bit of fun. Thanks for the support during the year. We continue daily F1 videos. Of course, it gets tough now because we haven't got races, reactions to do, but we try.